Hey guys, welcome back. We're back out in the garden again, trying to fill in some of the gaps in the garden. We went out to Stein's. We picked up a few things to fill in the different areas where we're not seeing the growth, that some of the stuff didn't survive, or some of the plants that we wanted to grow didn't quite make it, so we're getting some seedlings started from Stein's to plant it to the garden. On top of that, we're going to get the water garden started and Griffin's garden planted. So we have a lot of pots to fill, a lot of things to get done, so we're going to get started. We used to have a lemon tree, but didn't make it, so we're going to try this again, but this time we're going to go with a lime tree. Stein's has an excellent selection for water plants for your pond or water garden. We are going to be picking out a few things and get that planted. First thing we're picking up is our red water dock. Next we have our grass, which is a spiral rush. To add a little bit of extra color, we have our cardinal flower. Now to fill in the base and spill out over the edge, we have our golden jenny, moneywort. After we find the proper placements, we're going to get everything into their pots. We're going to be keeping them inside the plastic pots it came in, but we're going to be placing them into terracotta pots that are going to be filled with pea gravel. This will allow us to move the plants around with ease, take them out if necessary, replace if they don't work, but also find the right level, raise or lower the plant so it's at the right level for the water and gets the right amount of sunlight. Then we finish it off with a solar power water fountain in the center and we're all done. Now in one of our center gardens, we don't have anything planted along our arch trellises, so we're going to be planting our peas. We have a green arrow pea and a sugar and pea. While the green arrow shelling peas require a trellis, they get to be much bigger, producing a 4-inch pod and maturing in about 60 days. Our sugar and peas are a dwarf pea plant. They only get to be about 18 to 24-inch vines. They mature in about 55 days, with producing a 4 to 5-inch pea pod. In our annual garden bed, we are going to be planting a couple different things, starting off with our red zinnia. We also have a yellow zinnia. I'll be going in a few moments. And next up we have 3 sweet potato vines that are going to be spread out throughout the bed. This will eventually fill the bed in all the gaps and spill out over the edge. Now to add a little bit of extra color to this, we're going to be adding our Super Tunia Mini Vista Indigo. Now we're going to start filling in some of the gaps in the garden with different root vegetables, starting out with our watermelon radish. Next up we have our bull's blood beets. And lastly our golden turnips. When we were going through our seedlings, there was a little bit of uncertainty on what would make it and what wouldn't based on their sizes, and we did pick up some things to kind of subsidize our losses. And one of the things we picked up and what we're starting off with here are going to be our Scotch bonnets. We have a red and yellow Scotch bonnet. We're going to get those into pots first. Next up we have a planter box that was gifted to us. We are going to be using this to hold our rosemary. We had a couple attempts at trying to grow rosemary from seed with no success at all. So we picked out the plants. We have 2 different types here. We're going to winter these inside under grow lamps to see how long we can keep these running. Next up we have lavender. Now in our second planter box we have parsley and cilantro. In our first metal tub, we have 2 of our Scotch bonnets that we started from seed. Now we're moving on to our greens. First up is going to be our dinosaur kale. Next up is our butter crunch lettuce. And lastly, our slow bolt arugula. We're moving up front to Griffin's garden. We're going to start off by refreshing the soil and topping it off. Now Griffin picks out all of his own plants that he wants to put into his garden, and this is one he picked out. It is a patio container tomato plant. It produces a small cherry-like tomato that's extra sweet. He can pick, and it should be easy to contain. Now the goal is always to allow Griffin and Graham to both pick what they want to out of their garden, especially that everything in here should be edible, whether it's the fruit and in some cases the leaves of the plant themselves. This next up is going to be our stevia plant. If you've heard of the sugar alternative stevia, this is what it is. You can eat the leaves and they're super sweet. Now continuing on with our edible leafy greens that the boys can pick off, this is a lemon basil. It does have a nice strong lemony taste in the start, and you do have your undertones of the basil flavor. One last thing to do. It's that one.
I knew it was this one.
Now next up we have our cucumber plant that we're moving over here. This has a tendency to take over despite our best efforts to keep it knocked back. So what we're going to do is start it in a pot and let it run here with its own trellis. This is going to be a national pickling cucumber. Alright, so that's it. We got everything in. Almost everything in. We do still have some perennials and some trees that we need to get in the next week or so, but that'll be an upcoming video, so stay tuned for that. We have everything planted. All the pots are planted. All the beds are planted. Seeds are planted. We have the water gardens all set. Griffin's garden's all set. So all of our garden beds are all in for now. We will start a transition. I do have our spinach is almost done, so I'll be pulling that here pretty soon. Once that's done, I'll amend the soil and we'll probably put either kale, probably kale in there. I know the boys really love it, and I picked up a special type of kale, and with the boys' obsession and love for dinosaurs, I've got dinosaur kale. So I think they're gonna love that. That'll be a nice surprise for them. We do have some more things coming. Like I said, the trees, we have some edging for the garden that's gonna go around to keep all of the stones in. There's a lot of things happening, and we aren't even into summer yet. So stay tuned. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.